All right, all right. I had to let it drop. Welcome back to Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. Before the break, we were telling you about a special day that is coming up, and that is the Boys and Girls Club College Signing Day. And UW Milwaukee is a sponsor for the College Signing Day, and we have two very special guests in the building right now. And I don't want to mess anything up, so I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Dr. Schutz, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Aaron Schutz, and I am a professor, and I'm chair of the Department of Ed Policy Community Studies at UWM. And we're here to talk today about a special bachelor's program called the Community Engagement and Education Program. And then my colleague here is the distinguished pastor and community engagement king, Patrick Roberts. Patrick?
Good morning. Yes, Patrick Roberts. I'm the pastor of First Baptist Church of Kenosha.
Nice, nice. So, Aaron, I'm going to start with you. You are the program director for the Community Education Bachelor's Program for people interested in community change, urban schooling, and social justice. Tell us more about the program and what students learn in this program.
Well, first, let me just tell you that this is a very unique program. So the first African-American dean at the UWM School of Education came up, and he was like, we should be working more with the community. And so he spent some time walking around the community. He said, what do people want from a university? And they said, we want people to help work in the community, help support and do community education. And out of that, he created the Community Engagement and Education Bachelor's Program. And this program is designed to be for anyone, but especially for returning students. We give credit for prior professional experience because we respect what people bring to us. So you can earn quite a few credits from what you already do out in the world. And our students generally learn about urban policy. They learn about how to engage with the community, how to bring community organizations together. And then we have quite a few people who start out in the schools. And so we don't license teachers, but we have a lot of folks who also use our program to learn about key issues about, like, why do the schools look the way we are? And the last thing I would say is that we are an extremely diverse program at UWM. We have over 50% underrepresented students of color in our program, and we have very high graduation rates of students across the range. So there really isn't any difference in how students do depending on where they come from in our program.
We're being joined live in studio by Dr. Aaron Schutz, professor and department chair for Community Engagement and Education Program at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. We also are joined by Patrick Roberts, pastor for First Baptist Church in Kenosha. And Patrick, you are an alum of the bachelor's degree in Community Engagement and Education. What led you to this program?
So what led me to this program was I have to give credit to Susan Fields. She's no longer, I believe, at UWM, but she was the person who counseled you over at the African American Studies program department. Mm-hmm. So when I went over there, because I did some college, but I wanted to finish my degree, and I actually wanted to study in religion. So when I met her and we sat down to talk, and she was asking me what I was doing because I was much later in life. And so she said, what is it that you're trying to do? I said, well, I'm working towards getting my credentialing and be a pastor. She said, well, what kind of pastor? I said, well, I need to engage. And so I said, that's me. I like being a part of the community and engaging with people. And so she said, well, I have a program that would fit you if that's what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And she mentioned this program in the education department, community engagement. And she questioned me. She said, if you're going to be authentically like a pastor that reaches people, this program will help you. And so I went through the program, and I should say that it has allowed me to have a foundation in my approach as a pastor. So there's certain things that you learn going through the training and the understanding of being a community engagement person, where you learn how to relate to people in such a way where you develop like relationships and partnerships that helps the community to develop even more. So you don't work from a silo of self-interest. So there are certain writings that you come across, some of them that stand out to me that I actually use today. So like people like Saul Alinsky, because he was a community organizer, right? And so not that I'm a community organizer, but the techniques of what's called ethnograph, where you get into a community and you start to understand how it works and functions. So how does that look for me as a pastor? So like I commute up. So I live here in Milwaukee, right? I live in the city. I live in Sherman Park, matter of fact, right? So when I commute up to Kenosha, let's say if I go eat somewhere, I actually intentionally go eat like in diners that places me amongst the general people there, the everyday people, right? So that I can like build connection with them. And so that allows me to understand Kenosha in different ways through the lens of the people. When I understand that, then that gives me a way to understand that how a church, how we can engage in the community. We're not being so pervasive, but being a part of it, where we have partnerships, and then understanding what partnerships are. So there's an educational book that promotes about partnerships. So there's different types of partnerships, whether they're collaborating, coordinated, or transactional. So I use that as a template when I engage with other institutions. Like, what kind of partnership should I be having with that institution and having it from the lens of the church, right? So it's not like I'm trying to be super religious, but we do have some commonality in which things we're trying to meet, goals we're trying to meet. So I conduct blood drives, for instance. So I partner with Versity Blood Center. They come out, we do blood drives, right? We're trying to impact community. And so, that's what I try to do.
And speaking of that, thank you so much for being with us today. If you're just tuning in, you are listening to live in the studio, Dr. Aaron Schutz, Professor and Department Chair of Community Engagement and Education Program at UW-Milwaukee, as well as Pastor Patrick Roberts, First Baptist Church in Kenosha. So, gentlemen, thank you again for making the time to join us live in the studio. Now, because we know y'all are busy changing lives for the better, I've got to ask both of you this question, and I want to start with you, Dr. Schutz. The headlines that many of us as Milwaukeeans and Wisconsinites are reading, and we're hearing from legislation, is that DE&I programs, initiatives, and focuses are being eliminated out of the UW system. And so my question is, based on what people of color, people of a diverse population, especially those students at UWM, why, from your lens, is having a diverse student population so important to UWM and your program?
Well, I mean, UWM is the only urban public university in the entire state, with potentially the exception of Parkside. And so it is critical that we find ways to provide spaces where people of a whole range of backgrounds and experiences feel comfortable and feel like they're with other people who look like them, who think like them, and have experiences like them. But this also means that because we have such a diverse population, that we have an enormous diversity of opinions. So we're able to bring in all kinds of different perspectives. And as you've heard Pastor Robert say, one of the things that we really focus on is the idea that we don't come in with the answer. We're not going to come in and say, here's the absolute answer for how you deal with diversity. We're going to engage people with the information that we have and we've drawn together, and the enormous experience that many of our students bring to us to the classroom. And it's the combination of the power of the students that we have with their wide range of experiences and ages and everything else, along with the knowledge that we have in our classes, that makes our classes a really vibrant space, I think, both for students and for faculty. And it's an honor to be in a program like that.
And Pastor Roberts, do you want to respond?
Sure. Let me respond just from a personal experience. So I enrolled in a course called the Chicano Experience. And in that course, it helped me to learn from the perspective of our Latino and Hispanic brothers and sisters how they have navigated through America. And even the professor was of Latino heritage. So what I was able to sit back and learn is some of the struggles that they go through, that my embeddedness based on my own ethnic cultural experience may limit how I see or understand their move, their sojourn in this country. So being a part of that class and listening to the perspectives from females and males and how their families are affected, right, when it may become to things such as like some of the immigration policies that we have in this country and how it impacts families, I was able to sit in and listen to personal stories. And I think that's a wealth of knowledge. So that way, when you engage with other people, and in the case of being a pastor, I understand through a lens, it might be a small lens, but how other people feel and think about the things that they go through in life. And that's growth for me. So that way I can kind of spread that knowledge in terms of what people's embedded thinking. It limits them oftentimes because they don't come across Hispanic or Latino brothers and sisters, and you have that kind of discussion or those types of, just experiences in the classroom you can learn from. So.
Yeah, it seems like this program has a lot to offer. Before we let you all go, Dr. Schutz, can you just let people know or give them information on how they can learn more about this program?
So you can go online to uwm.edu/CEED, and it'll have extensive information, just a couple of little pieces. One is the program can be completed either fully online or it can be completed hybrid, where we have quite a few face-to-face meetings with the classes, and most students kind of combine one or the other. And also just to remind folks that if you're coming in, getting a degree can seem like a long path. You can earn up to 42 lower division electives from your prior professional experience through this program, which is a unique aspect of this program. We'd love to see folks. And the last thing I would say is that we want our program to be a home for people who come in who may have been out of school for a while, who may be concerned about, well, do I really, when I do, I really want to do this again. And if you are in one of our classes and you find a professor that you feel like, we're going to hold your feet to the fire, right? But if you find a professor that's not responsive, that you run into some really big problems, and we're not there to say, what can we do to make you be successful? I want to hear about it.
Well, Dr. Aaron Schutz and Pastor Patrick Roberts, we appreciate you taking the time coming in and talking about this program that sounds like a really, really good program. And again, if you want more information, go to UWM/edu?
UWM.edu/CEED.
CEED. Well, appreciate the time, guys, and keep it locked right here, Truth Nation. When we come back, we'll have Truth or Dare. Keep it locked on Truth Be Told with DT and Telly.
Truth Be Told with DT and Telly returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.